Then T plus 8 minutes 40 seconds will be second stage engine cutoff, or SECO 1. The Falcon 9 upper stage will enter into a coast phase until T plus 54 minutes 6 seconds, when the second stage engine, or the Merlin vacuum engine, will ignite for 2 seconds. And then the Starlink satellites will deploy at T plus 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 22 seconds. And we are starting to get some mission audio and sounds from the pad from SpaceX.
Strong back retract.
As you hear the call for a strong back retract begin, those clamp arms underneath the payload fairings are starting to open up. You'll see the transporter erector, or the strong back, start to recline away from the Falcon 9. And again, it will stay in that tilted back position about 1.5 degrees away from the vehicle for until the point at which it lifts off. See those clamp arms opening up there on your screen. And a really nice view of the new crew access tower. Just taking a look at it, we haven't heard that they've added them yet, but not seeing the emergency egress system baskets on the tower yet, so it looks like that's still an outstanding item for SpaceX to add to that tower before they can support crew mission. T minus 3 minutes, 15 seconds and counting. Do want to thank a few more people for their support before we get into the last couple minutes of the count. Thank you to Chip Sullivan for joining us with channel membership at the pad leader level. Really appreciate that, Chip. Hope you enjoy the 4K views of this launch and all the other launches for as long as you're with us as a channel member. Thank you. Our thanks to some folks with the super chats. Russell Jones with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Russell, one of our channel members. Brian Copley with
Stage 1, LOX load complete.
$4 20-second super chat. You heard that Stage 2 LOX loading wrapping up. The last fueling milestone coming up in about a minute from now, when the first stage liquid oxygen fueling will be completely tapped out. Our thanks to Air Force USA with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Air Force. Says, is there a point when they will slow down the launch of the Starlink satellites? Seems like a lot being sent up. No indication that they're going to slow down anytime soon. They're trying to meet some FCC deadlines for launching half of their fleet, so they're going to keep launching as much as they can, as quickly as they can.
Stage 2, LOX load complete.
Here they call that LOX load is complete on Stage 2. Starting to see some final venting there as we are now 1.5 minutes away from liftoff. Really want to thank Russell Jones for a $5 super chat as well. It says, how many rockets will be lifting off on
Ground gas closeouts.
December 30th? I see multiple launches. We'll take a closer look at that on the other side of the launch. I don't have that info right off the top of my head. But we are now getting into the last minute of the count here. Really appreciate everyone that's with us. If you haven't already, hit the like button real quick and allow more folks to see this live coverage, as we are now just about 50 seconds away from liftoff, listening to the launch director for that final go for launch.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Go for launch.
And you're that go for launch. We got 30 seconds to liftoff. As a quick point of note, our countdown clock is in real time. The one you'll see on the SpaceX screen is on a slight delay. Now 15 seconds from liftoff. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. And liftoff of the Falcon 9 rocket as it clears the tower. Falcon 9 climbing to deliver 23 Starlink satellites The Starlink 6-30 mission. Falcon 9 is now 20 seconds into its flight. Now T plus 30 seconds into flight, getting some great tracking views from Chuck Briggs. Now T plus 40 minutes into flight, we're hearing the roar of those Merlin engines here at the press site. Let's listen in. Now about a minute into flight, the Falcon 9 climbing through some clouds, as seen from Pete Carson's tracking camera. And now taking a look at Chuck Briggs here. Falcon 9 now traveling faster than the speed of sound. Falcon 9 passing through max Q, the point of greatest aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle. Now a minute and a half into flight. We're less than a minute away on the burn of this first stage. The Merlin engine is producing 1.7 million pounds of thrust. Great tracking views from Pete Carson's from Max Q Productions, as seen from a little bit farther south of here in Vieira. Should be hearing a call for MVAC chill down shortly. The indication that they are thermally conditioning the Merlin vacuum engine for ignition. Some great colors on the tracking views from Chuck, Adam, and Pete here. Now about 2.5 minutes into flight, we see MECO, followed by stage separation. We should see the ignition of the Merlin vacuum engine momentarily. And there you go. You see the boxes on this screen from your right. That is the slight delay from the SpaceX views. See the first stage falling away in the bottom right-hand corner. And that Merlin vacuum engine coming on and the delay from SpaceX. Now 3 minutes into flight. And some great tracking views from Pete Carson's at the moment. As you see, fairing separation, those two fairing halves glinting as they fall away from the Falcon 9 upper stage. Just a fantastic view here. We'll see the delay on the right. And you can still see them hitting the reflection of that Merlin vacuum engine every now and again. And you can see some stars as the Falcon 9 continues soaring. The glow of the Merlin vacuum engine. Now you can see just on the far left side of your screen as the payload fairings fall just out of view. There was some watching out for the thick clouds rule heading into tonight's launch, but fortunately it's not preventing either the liftoff or our cameras from getting some great tracking shots.
The Eagles on nominal trajectories.
Now a little over 4 minutes into flight. Coming up, the next big milestone will be the first stage entry burn beginning. That'll come up at T plus 6 minutes and 10 seconds. That burn lasting 21 seconds. Going around the horn here, 4.5 minutes into flight. At the center of your screen, you're seeing the Merlin vacuum engine still igniting. Or still ignited, I should say. This is from Pete Carson's tracking camera here from Max Q Productions. On the top right-hand corner of your screen, that box representing the first stage of the Falcon 9 booster from the onboard camera. A little dark to see, but in just about a minute and some change, we'll see the Merlin engine on the first stage ignite for that entry burn. On the bottom right-hand corner, that box, of course, is the Merlin vacuum engine. from the onboard cameras of the Falcon 9's upper stage. Same thing you're seeing from Pete Carson's tracking camera. Pete, believe, is getting ready for that entry burn, so peeling away from the upper stage to bring us views of the entry burn beginning, so we'll come back to him momentarily. Again, as a bit of housekeeping, the clock that you're seeing in the top right-hand corner of your screen is our countdown clock that is real time for this mission. The clock from SpaceX you're seeing at the bottom center of your screen is coming to us on a slight delay, so that's why there's a discrepancy of about 10 or 11 seconds between those two. Now T plus 6 minutes into this
Both
flight.
vehicles continue to follow nominal trajectories.
About 5 seconds in real time away from the start of the entry burn. Again, the time you want to see at the bottom of your screen is when that will begin for the SpaceX views, but we're hoping that, as we see right here on your screen, that our Pete Carstens was able to catch it, and catch it he did.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
This burn should last for just about another 3 seconds or so in real
Stage
time.
1 entry burn startup.
And that's the end of the entry burn, again in real time. Seeing that entry burn continue on the SpaceX onboard camera views, though.
Stage 1 entry burn shut down.
And the conclusion of that
Stage
entry
2
burn
FTS is saved.
as we approach 7 minutes into flight. Next major milestone coming up in just a little over a minute from now, when the first stage landing burn will begin. That comes up at T plus 8 minutes 5 seconds. A point of note, though, because it is going to be as low on the horizon as it is, our tracking cameras won't be able to see that from the ground, so we'll keep an eye on the SpaceX onboard camera feeds to see images of that first stage landing. The box on the left will continue to bring pictures from onboard the Falcon 9 rocket. As it approaches its final landing, the box on the right should flip over to cameras aboard the drone ship again.
Stage 1 transonic.
SpaceX is using the drone ship. Just read the instructions tonight. The recovery vessel Bob is going to be scooping up those payload bearings that you saw jettisoned earlier in this launch. That landing burn in real time, starting right now. Coming up in about 5
Pursue
seconds
terminal
Stage 1 landing burn.
on the SpaceX feed. Should be starting right about now. There we go. Touchdown on the drone ship should be coming up at T plus 8 minutes 27 seconds. We'll start to see it coming into view as
Landing
it is
leg
here.
deploy.
And for
Stage 1
the
landing confirmed.
17th time, the booster is up, the booster is down, and SpaceX has another piece of success on its hands, as the first stage has successfully landed on the drone ship. Just read the instructions.
Seago.
And with Seago called, the Merlin vacuum engine will power down for now as the upper stage of the Falcon 9 rocket goes into a coast phase.
Nominal
Taking a
orbit
look
insertion.
at the telemetry data for just another moment longer before SpaceX cuts it off here. That upper stage will remain in a coast phase until T plus 54 minutes, 4 seconds, at which point there will be a 2-second burn, and then at T plus 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 22 seconds will be Starlink satellite deployment. Really appreciate all of you who've been with us for the duration of our coverage, and Callistia Lee, one of our channel members, for a very generous $20 super chat as we were in the thick of things. Really appreciate that. It says go Falcon, and go indeed it did, as we saw a successful liftoff and landing of that Falcon 9 first stage booster, tail number 1062. want to thank a great bit of channel generosity from Rocket Profit for gifting 10 Spaceflight Now memberships. That is very kind of you, Rocket Profit, and wonderful to see that spirit of generosity around the holidays as we are nestled in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So thanks to Rocket Profit for spreading the gift of Spaceflight Now membership, and to those who are recipients of that new channel membership, welcome. Hope you enjoy the perks of that. And Rocket Profit also adds a comment after that, says, to all the newest greenies, those who have the little green bubble with membership, he says, those memberships only last 1 month. After that, it is up to you to continue it or not. And welcome. And yes, we certainly hope those who are getting a little bit of a peek at channel membership, thanks to Rocket Profit, do enjoy being channel members. We'd love it if you'd stick around with us, as got a lot of great things on tap for the rest of the year, not least of which are Falcon Heavy launch, as well as the maiden flight of ULA's Vulcan rocket coming up at the end of the year. Mission to the Moon will be the first of the CLIPS missions, sending a robotic lander up to the moon. Also want to thank Kirk Earhart for a very generous $100 super chat donation. No message that I see here, but really, really appreciate that, Kirk. Thank you very sincerely for supporting us at that level. And if just scanning the live chat to make sure that Kirk didn't have a question or comment that I may have missed. I don't believe so, but Kirk, if you have a comment or question you'd like to drop here, I'd be happy to answer that for you. But if not, appreciate the silent support. And thanks to one of our channel members, Josh King, for a $10 super chat donation. Really appreciate that, Josh, and thanks for being one of our great channel members. It says, great launch tonight. How was your trip to Starbase? Ah, yes, Starbase was thrilling and exhausting. It was my first time out to Brownsville, Texas, and all the people that I ran into were nothing short of lovely. Lots of folks who traveled from across the country, and some folks from various parts of the world to be there in the run-up to the launch of the second integrated flight test of SpaceX's Starship rocket. It was quite something to see it launch in person. If you do have the opportunity to travel down there, it is a bit of a trek, you know, the southernmost part of Texas, really. But because Starbase lies on a public access road out to the beach there, anyone can drive past and see a good bit of SpaceX hardware in work. Saw at least one booster that was near the road, another that was off in their testing area, and I'm trying to think, at least four or five ships that were just out in the open, and you could see a couple in their high bays with the doors open that were being worked on. So if you are a rocket fan and you want to be able to see some future flight hardware, then you have the ability to make the trip down there. I would say it's worth the trip. Plus, it's near the beach, so having a beach day is not a bad way to tie that all together. Of course, if you haven't already watched our Starship coverage on the channel, we do have a handful of videos up there now, and you can bet your bottom dollar that we'll continue to follow the program as it develops over the next several years, and we'll certainly be making more trips down to Starbase in the future as more launches come up. And lastly, for now, I want to thank Rita Loy, one of our channel members, for another $10 super chat donation. Thank you so much, Rita. Says, welcome to the new members, and yes, welcome indeed. And as we like